Most people begin their careers asking the wrong question. They ask, how can I make more money? When the better question is, how can I become more valuable? At first, the difference seems small, but over time it determines whether you spend your life chasing opportunities or attracting them. Money is a result, not a starting point. It flows toward people who solve difficult problems, create rare value, and possess skills that few others can offer. This is why the wealthiest individuals often spend their early years investing in themselves rather than maximizing their income. They willingly accept difficult projects, unfamiliar responsibilities, and steep learning curves because they understand something most people overlook: skills compound. Every challenge mastered improves your judgment, expands your capabilities, and increases your market value. While others focus on earning more this month, they focus on becoming the kind of person who will naturally earn more for decades. Think about how quickly the world is changing. Technology evolves, industries disappear, and artificial intelligence continues replacing routine work. The skills that were valuable yesterday may become ordinary tomorrow. In this environment, your greatest financial security is no longer a stable job. It is the ability to continuously develop capabilities that remain difficult to replace. The people who thrive are not necessarily the smartest. They are the ones who learn faster than change itself. This idea can be understood through what many experts call career capital. Every meaningful skill you develop becomes an asset that keeps increasing your options. Better communication leads to stronger leadership. Better leadership opens larger opportunities. Better judgment improves every financial decision you make. Unlike a paycheck that is spent once, valuable skills continue generating returns for years. They become the foundation upon which businesses are built, investments are managed, and influence is earned. There's another reason skills matter more than income. Money can disappear through inflation, poor decisions, or unexpected setbacks. Skills remain with you. They allow you to rebuild, adapt, and create value again regardless of changing circumstances. History repeatedly shows that people who understand how to create value recover far faster than those who simply depend on a salary. Wealth may fluctuate, but capability travels with you. This doesn't mean money isn't important. It means money should never become the primary objective. When income is your only focus, you often choose comfort over growth and short-term rewards over long-term opportunity. But when mastery becomes your priority, higher income becomes a natural consequence instead of a constant struggle. You stop competing only on price or effort because your expertise begins separating you from the crowd. Before asking how to earn more, ask what problem you can solve that few others can. Before negotiating for a higher salary, ask whether you're building abilities that will still be valuable 10 years from now. The market consistently rewards people who become increasingly useful, not simply increasingly busy. In the end, lasting wealth is built long before the first million is earned. It begins with the decision to invest in the one asset that appreciates throughout your entire life, your own ability. Because income follows effort for a season, but exceptional skills create opportunities that continue paying long after the work itself is finished. One of the most expensive financial mistakes is confusing the appearance of wealth with wealth itself. Modern society constantly encourages people to display success before they have actually built it. A nicer car, a bigger house, luxury brands, and an impressive lifestyle can create the illusion of financial freedom. Yet many people who appear wealthy are quietly trapped by debt, rising expenses, and the constant pressure to maintain an image. Looking rich and being rich are rarely the same thing. Real wealth is often invisible because it is built on ownership rather than appearance. It lives in businesses, investments, equity, intellectual property, and assets that continue producing income long after the initial work has been done. These things rarely attract immediate attention, but they quietly increase financial security year after year. While many people spend their income buying symbols of success, wealthy individuals spend their resources acquiring assets that generate even more resources. Their focus is not on impressing strangers but on increasing future freedom. This difference comes down to the way people think about money. Most consumers ask, Can I afford this? Investors ask, will this make me wealthier? That single question changes almost every financial decision. Instead of purchasing something because it creates a temporary feeling of status, they evaluate whether it will appreciate, generate cash flow, or create opportunities in the future. Every dollar becomes a worker assigned to build more wealth instead of financing short-lived satisfaction. Psychologists often describe this behavior as status signaling. Humans naturally want recognition, and expensive possessions can provide instant social validation. The problem is that status purchased through consumption disappears quickly, while the financial burden often remains for years. This creates what can be called status inflation. As income grows, spending grows with it, and the lifestyle that once felt luxurious soon becomes normal. The result is a cycle where people earn more, but never feel financially free, because every increase in income is matched by higher expenses. Asset ownership breaks this cycle. An investment portfolio can generate returns while you sleep. A business can continue serving customers after the workday ends. Intellectual property can create income years after it is produced. These assets may require patience in the beginning, but they gradually reduce dependence on active labor. Instead of constantly exchanging time for money, you begin owning systems that create value on your behalf. This doesn't mean you should never enjoy the rewards of your work. The difference is timing. Wealthy people often delay visible rewards until their assets can comfortably pay for them. They allow investments to finance their lifestyle, instead of allowing their lifestyle to consume the money that could have become investments. As a result, luxury becomes a byproduct of financial strength rather than a substitute for it. In the end, financial success is not measured by what people see. It is measured by what continues working when nobody is watching. The strongest balance sheet is often hidden behind a modest lifestyle, while the loudest display of wealth can sometimes hide the weakest financial foundation. Build assets before appearances, because assets create income, income creates freedom, and freedom is the only form of wealth that never goes out of style. If hard work alone created wealth, the people working the longest hours would always become the richest. Yet the world doesn't work that way. Millions of people work tirelessly every day and still struggle financially, while others create extraordinary wealth without increasing the number of hours they work. The difference is leverage. Hard work determines how much you can earn today. Leverage determines how much your effort can continue earning tomorrow. Leverage is the ability to produce results far greater than the time, money, or energy you personally invest. Instead of relying only on your own effort, you build systems that multiply it. A business serves customers while you focus on growth. Investments allow capital to generate more capital. Technology enables one idea to reach millions of people instantly. A skilled team expands your impact beyond what you could ever accomplish alone. The goal is no longer to work harder than everyone else, but to make every hour create value that continues long after that hour has passed. This is why wealthy people think differently about time. Most people ask how they can earn more from the next hour of work. People who understand leverage ask how 1 hour can continue producing results for years. That simple shift changes every decision. Instead of creating something that must be repeated endlessly, they build something that can be reused, expanded, or automated. Every project becomes an asset instead of another obligation. One useful way to think about this is through multiplication thinking. Before beginning any major effort, ask yourself whether the result can grow beyond your direct involvement. Will this skill increase your future earning power? Can this business operate without your constant attention? Can this content continue reaching new people months from now? Can this investment appreciate while you focus on other opportunities? Questions like these gradually move you away from linear growth and toward exponential progress. There are 4 powerful forms of leverage available to almost everyone: knowledge, technology, people, and capital. Knowledge helps you make better decisions. Technology allows your work to scale. Strong relationships and talented teams multiply your capabilities. Capital creates opportunities that no amount of labor alone can produce. You don't need to master all 4 immediately, but the more forms of leverage you build, the less dependent you become on trading time for money. The most valuable leverage is often invisible at first. A reputation built over years attracts opportunities before you even ask. A loyal audience continues supporting your work long after it is created. A well-managed investment portfolio quietly compounds in the background. None of these produce dramatic results overnight, but together they create a system where progress accelerates instead of restarting every morning. This doesn't mean effort becomes unimportant. Every form of leverage begins with disciplined work. The difference is that disciplined work should eventually build something larger than itself. If every dollar you earn still depends entirely on your presence, your income will always have a ceiling. But when your effort creates assets, systems, and ownership, your potential expands far beyond the limits of your time. In the end, wealth is rarely determined by how hard you work. It is determined by how intelligently your work continues creating value after you have finished it. Labor can build a living, but leverage builds freedom. The sooner you stop measuring success by hours worked and start measuring it by value multiplied, the sooner your financial future begins growing faster than your effort alone ever could. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with water while dozens of small holes keep draining it. No matter how hard you work, the bucket never becomes full. For many people, this is exactly how progress feels. They are constantly busy, yet they rarely move closer to their biggest goals. The problem is not a lack of effort, it is the constant loss of focus. In today's world, attention has become one of the most valuable assets you own, and every distraction quietly reduces its value. Modern life is designed to compete for your attention. Notifications, breaking news, endless videos, social media, and countless opinions all promise to help you succeed. But consuming more information does not automatically produce better results. In fact, too much information often creates hesitation instead of clarity. You begin collecting ideas instead of applying them, confusing preparation with progress. Meanwhile, the people making the greatest advances are usually not consuming the most information. They are executing the few ideas that matter most. Successful people treat focus as an investment, not as a personality trait. They understand that every yes to something unimportant is also a no to something meaningful. Instead of trying to pursue every opportunity, they eliminate distractions that do not support their long-term vision. Their advantage is not that they have more time than everyone else. It is that they protect the time they already have with remarkable discipline. Economists often speak about scarce resources, and in today's economy, attention is one of the scarcest resources of all. Every hour spent reacting to unnecessary information is an hour that cannot be invested in building skills, creating assets, or making thoughtful decisions. This is why attention economics matters. Companies compete for your attention because they understand its value. If you do not consciously decide where your attention goes, someone else will gladly decide for you. Another hidden cost is what psychologists call attention residue. Every time you jump from one task to another, part of your mind remains attached to what you just left behind. Even though your body has moved on, your focus has not. As these interruptions accumulate throughout the day, deep thinking becomes increasingly difficult. You may spend hours working without ever reaching the level of concentration where your best ideas emerge. The result is not just lower productivity, but lower quality thinking. The people who create extraordinary results understand that focus compounds just like money. One uninterrupted hour of meaningful work is often worth more than an entire day of scattered effort. A single clear objective consistently pursued for months usually outperforms dozens of exciting ideas that are never fully developed. Great achievements rarely come from doing everything. They come from doing the right thing long enough for its results to compound. Protecting your focus does not mean ignoring every opportunity. It means knowing which opportunities deserve your attention and having the discipline to let the rest pass by. Every distraction carries an invisible opportunity cost because it delays the work that could have changed your future. The more valuable your goals become, the more selective your attention must be. In the end, wealth is built long before money appears in your bank account. It begins with the ability to direct your attention toward what creates lasting value, and to resist everything that merely demands your time. Guard your focus the way an investor guards valuable assets, because where your attention goes consistently, your future eventually follows. The moment you believe there is nothing left to learn, your growth quietly begins to slow. This is one of the most dangerous traps successful people can fall into. Experience creates confidence, but it can also create certainty. And certainty, when left unchallenged, often becomes the beginning of decline. The world keeps changing whether we choose to change with it or not. New technologies emerge, industries evolve, and consumer behavior shifts. The people who continue growing are rarely those who know the most. They are the ones who remain willing to learn the fastest. Many people assume intelligence guarantees success, but intelligence without adaptability quickly loses its value. History is filled with companies and professionals who dominated their industries until they stopped questioning their assumptions. They became experts in yesterday's world, while tomorrow quietly arrived without them. The marketplace does not reward what you once knew. It rewards your ability to stay relevant. One of the greatest obstacles to learning is ego. Ego wants to be right. It avoids criticism, resists feedback, and protects old beliefs because admitting change feels uncomfortable. But every time you reject useful feedback, you also reject an opportunity to improve. The strongest performers understand that criticism, when filtered wisely, is information. It reveals blind spots that are impossible to see alone. Instead of asking, "How do I prove I'm right?" they ask, "What can I learn that makes me better?" This mindset reflects what many researchers describe as learning agility, the ability to absorb new information, adapt quickly, and apply lessons to unfamiliar situations. In a rapidly changing economy, this may be more valuable than any single technical skill. Knowledge eventually becomes outdated, but the ability to learn continuously never does. People with high learning agility don't fear change because they trust their ability to grow with it. Curiosity also creates opportunity. The more questions you ask, the more patterns you begin to notice. You recognize shifts before they become obvious. You discover solutions that others overlook because they stopped paying attention. Over time, learning becomes a competitive advantage, not because you accumulate endless information, but because you consistently convert new ideas into better decisions. Small improvements repeated over many years create a gap that talent alone cannot overcome. Staying teachable also requires humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is recognizing that no matter how much you know, reality can always teach you something new. Every conversation, every failure, and every unexpected result contains information that can sharpen your judgment if you are willing to receive it. People who remain curious keep expanding their possibilities, while those who cling to certainty gradually limit their future. In the end, the greatest risk is not falling behind today. It is believing you no longer need to move forward. Skills may open doors, but continuous learning keeps those doors from closing. The future belongs to people who adapt faster than circumstances change, who replace pride with curiosity, and who understand that lasting wealth is built not by knowing everything, but by never stopping the pursuit of becoming better. Every person faces obstacles they did not choose. The economy changes, opportunities disappear, people disappoint us, and unexpected setbacks arrive without warning. None of these are completely within our control. But there is one thing that always remains ours: the way we respond. This is where personal power begins. The moment you stop asking, "Who's responsible for my situation?" and start asking, "What can I do next?" you reclaim control over your future. Many people spend years blaming circumstances. They blame their employer for low income, the market for missed opportunities, their background for limited options, or bad luck for slow progress. Sometimes those reasons are real. But even when they are true, they rarely create better outcomes. Blame may explain where you are, but it never determines where you can go. Every excuse hands a piece of your power to something outside yourself, while responsibility pulls that power back into your own hands. Psychologists describe this mindset as an internal locus of control, the belief that your choices have a meaningful impact on your future. People with this mindset don't assume life will always be fair. Instead, they focus on the variables they can influence. their skills, habits, decisions, discipline, and attitude. Because their attention stays on action rather than frustration, they adapt faster when circumstances change. Over time, that adaptability becomes a significant competitive advantage. Responsibility also changes the way you view failure. Instead of seeing setbacks as proof that success is impossible, you begin treating them as information. A failed investment becomes a lesson in risk management. A rejected opportunity becomes feedback about preparation or timing. A difficult year becomes motivation to strengthen your financial foundation. The event remains the same, but your interpretation determines whether it becomes a permanent obstacle or a stepping stone. This mindset doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong. It means refusing to let external events dictate your future. You cannot always control what happens, but you can control how quickly you recover, what you learn, and what decision you make next. That shift transforms problems from barriers into responsibilities, waiting to be solved. One of the most empowering habits is asking better questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this situation trying to teach me?" Instead of asking, "Who should fix this?" ask, "What is the next action within my control?" Questions like these redirect your energy away from complaint and toward progress. Small decisions made consistently under this mindset create remarkable long-term results. Financial independence is built on the same principle. Wealth grows when people consistently take ownership of their choices instead of waiting for perfect conditions. They save before they are forced to. They invest before they feel completely ready. They improve themselves before opportunity demands it. They understand that responsibility is not a burden, it is the price of freedom. In the end, the strongest form of power is not the ability to control the world around you. It is the ability to control your response, regardless of what the world does next. When you accept full responsibility for your growth, your decisions become clearer, your resilience becomes stronger, and your future is no longer defined by circumstance, but by the choices you make every single day. Comfort has a quiet way of convincing us that we've already gone far enough. It doesn't arrive as failure or weakness, it arrives as routine. The habits that once helped you grow slowly become habits that keep you where you are. The job that once felt like an opportunity becomes a place you are afraid to leave. The business that once challenged you becomes a system you stop improving. Without realizing it, comfort stops being a reward and quietly becomes your identity. Growth has always demanded a willingness to step into uncertainty. Every meaningful improvement begins with temporary discomfort. Learning a new skill feels frustrating before it becomes natural. Building a business feels risky before it becomes stable. Investing feels uncomfortable before compounding begins to work. The people who continue building wealth understand that discomfort is rarely a warning sign. More often, it is evidence that they are expanding beyond their previous limits. This is why successful people deliberately place themselves in environments that require growth. They don't wait until change is forced upon them. They seek challenges while they still have the freedom to choose them. Every new responsibility strengthens their confidence. Every unfamiliar problem sharpens their judgment. Every calculated risk stretches their capabilities. Instead of protecting the person they are today, they invest in becoming the person tomorrow will require. Think of growth as a continuous cycle: challenge, adaptation, competence, comfort, and then a new challenge. Most people stop in the comfort stage because it feels safe, but those who continue progressing recognize that every comfort zone has an expiration date. Markets evolve, technology advances, and opportunities shift. The skills that once created success eventually become the minimum standard. If you refuse to grow, the world will eventually outgrow you. This doesn't mean constantly chasing bigger goals without appreciating your achievements. There is value in celebrating progress. The danger comes when comfort becomes an excuse to stop improving. Financial freedom is not maintained by repeating yesterday's habits forever. It requires continuous learning, continuous adaptation, and the humility to accept that every new level demands a better version of yourself. When you look back at the principles we've explored, they all point toward the same truth. Build skills before chasing money. Own assets instead of appearances. Create leverage instead of depending only on effort. Protect your focus. Remain teachable. Take complete responsibility for your future. None of these ideas matter if comfort convinces you to stop applying them. Wealth is never built through a single breakthrough. It is built through the discipline of growing long after success becomes possible. In the end, your greatest competitor is rarely another person. It is the version of yourself that prefers certainty over possibility and familiarity over growth. The future belongs to those who refuse to let comfort define their potential. They continue learning when others stop, adapting when others resist, and moving forward when others settle. Because lasting wealth is not created by reaching a destination. It is created by becoming the kind of person who never stops evolving, no matter how successful life becomes.